All right. Thank you. Mr. Keith Rawls.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
I've got two copies of this report that these will belong to the commission, and y'all can pass them around for your inspection and read them whenever you want. Or
Right here. You let the two commissioners see him right here. I can lean on your shoulder if you don't mind.
okay. I'm not here on a happy occasion. It's kind of a disturbing situation that I've been sent here, and I've kind of up half the night getting my notes together and being barraged by fellow fundraiser folks with issues that they wanted to mention as well. So I did my best to try to put everything together for y'all, and I'm going to try to blow right through it. It's not a long-winded thing, but there's a lot of stuff to soak up, and I'll just try to get on with it. And at the end, if you want to ask questions, that's fine, of course. And if you need to stop me in the middle for clarification, I understand. But what I want to do right now is dispense with the issue of the two dead drug dogs. And the timeline is as follows. The first dog was Canine Ronan, and he was certified here by our judge for active duty on October 7th, 2008. He deceased December 21st, 2008. The cause of death was determined by veterinarians to be bloat, twisted intestine. What I've added to this is the preventative for this. The simple preventative to this bloat issue is, believe it or not, just adding water to the dry dog food. These dogs can choke, wolfing down the food. They choke so harshly, they gag. It causes the intestines to turn around, twist. They're blocked. If you can't open this dog up and untwist the intestine within 6 hours, then they die a slow and painful death within 3 days. This could be any dog, but especially these European-style dogs that are otherwise known as working dogs, high caliber, high-end style dogs. The next dog to come in after Ronan was Canine Molly. Molly was retired from active canine service from the military due to a medical disability, and she was given to us, but advised not to be put into day-to-day service with this disability. Her foot pads were thin. The military saw that they were bleeding. She couldn't stand up day-to-day, all day long, every day. So they retired her, took her back to the kennel. They got a replacement dog. When we went to the kennel to secure the next dog, that would have been Paco. He wasn't ready. He was being trained, or they had yet to. We had to sort of stand in line. This is a busy kennel. They supply a lot of police dogs. Suggestion was made to use Canine Molly as a decoy, and if she could pass certification in the meantime and do a little bit of work, that'd be good. She did pass the bite test, but she did not pass the sniff test. She wasn't tested again. She was just kept as a pet with the Josh Powell family, and that went on for 2 years. That's the story on her. She's still alive. We don't know where she is. I'll get to that in a second. The next dog to come in was the one we were waiting for to replace the first death, and that was Canine Paco. He was certified October 6, 2009. He deceased July 29, 2010. Cause of death, heat stroke. Once again, you've got a European-style dog here that is not an Alabama hound dog. And a lot of people just here are not aware that these dogs just can't take our heat. They're not suited for it. Preventative would have been anything from letting this dog get in the shade, dig in the soil, getting up under something, to being in an air-conditioned room or even a fan in the kennel. But no one saw this coming, and it just happened. So when he deceased on July 29th, he was then taken to the vet, and then the body was, and then they determined it was heat stroke. Then to a complete autopsy, I believe they call it necrotopsy. That would have been done in Auburn. Unfortunately, they put him in a cooler room and waited 30 days to get around to it. They claimed they found fleas or ticks on this dog, but I'd like to add that, and this was something that Mr. Jim Sperlin here reminded me, that if any of you have grown corn in your backyard garden, you know that you can pick this corn, clean it up, put it in the refrigerator, and you're fine. If you just take this corn off the stalk, put it in a sack, you're going to have these little grub worms in there, and they're going to continue to eat in your refrigerator. And if you don't have them in a sack, they might even get to the next vegetable that you have next to it. This would be a similar situation, and we believe that's happened if they had found ticks or fleas, because 2 weeks before this dog died of heat stroke, he was given a full veterinarian examination by Taylor Crossing. Somehow or another, I don't know if it was planned, but the handler, Josh Powell, didn't use Mark Moore, he used Taylor Crossing. Taylor Crossing is the preferred veterinarian for all Montgomery canine dogs. So the police department in Montgomery used that kennel. He couldn't have been in a better situation for analysis. So just to let you know, that's the timeline of these dogs. I'll get to the point here, but to preface this, why a drug dog fundraiser? And the answer is real simple. We and y'all, the hardworking citizens of Bullock County, we wanted to all help our law enforcement stop these kick-in house burglaries. And we all are aware that there are drug-related crimes that a canine could help put a stop to by busting up dealers on the street, in their vehicles, and in drug houses. Rather than have the police wait hours and sometimes days for a judge to sign a search warrant, a drug dog could alert on drugs and be that automatic warrant right on the spot. And right then and right there, the police could be able to find drugs and make arrests. A search and seizure is what they would call that. And the canine unit has been shown to be the best tool that law enforcement owns for these type of crime busting activities. And the fundraiser, on the day of the event, just that day, we made a total, rounded up, $7,000 for the drug dog fund. We know that an additional $10,000 was given to Crimestoppers by donations from businesses. We don't know other amounts. Crimestoppers never would give us a total of money that they took in. And Crimestoppers never helped us promote this, but they certainly did take the initiative to make solicitations of donations from plantations, businesses, individuals, and they wouldn't let us in on any of the money they were taking in. And this is all going on while we are promoting this thing ourselves for 4 months. Crimestoppers became involved in this fundraiser when Julian Moore, our fire chief in Fitzpatrick, and myself went to their Crimestoppers board meeting and met with all the directors and both judges at one table. And we proposed to them that our fundraiser would look a whole lot better with this new Crimestopper organization being a sponsor. And we told them that we had it all planned, We had everything mapped out, the financing. And they said to us that they would allow us to use their name on our printed materials, but they couldn't give us any money. They had no money. Well, we went there not expecting any money, so that was fine with us. We agreed to it. And again, they never helped promote this event. They did show up the day of the fundraiser, and I suppose they monitored the money take, and really there was no other activity on their part towards promotion. This entire idea of a drug dog program for the Sheriff's Department was planned by our fundraiser group, and Crimestoppers came in only in name only as a sponsor. They really had nothing to do with the planning, but they certainly took the credit for it. We didn't mind. It's just that the aftermath is what was disturbing, especially when we found that there was a crime involved. As time went on, they would still never give us any kind of total, and they kept everybody out of the know. Open books was the policy of Crimestoppers National USA, and we knew that, but we didn't know that this group at the time wasn't a part of this outfit. We thought they would loosen up and eventually tell us what was going on with the money, but they never did. Nonetheless, we continued to ask them for totals. It was never given to us. When it was time to procure the dog, Crimestoppers wanted to handle all the money. And at first we thought, that's fine, but we had always been under the impression that this money was going to the Sheriff's Department. We did not realize the Crimestoppers would be handling any money. We certainly didn't authorize it, and we just went along with it because of who they are. Crimestoppers. It looks like a bunch of good, solid citizens. Our judges are there. How can you go wrong? There was no doubt that we should trust these people. When we got the dog for the sheriff, I had called the Crimestoppers and asked, what are they doing about the kennel? You know, it should be a professional kind of kennel that a dog can live in year-round. They wouldn't have any input in that. They said, it's covered, it's done, don't worry about it. Well, it wasn't done. In my investigation, I found out that the house had no insulation. There wasn't really a water faucet connected to the kennel. It was just an extended hose. There's no electric, heat, and nothing that would pass for a year-round canine living quarters. They completely refused inquiry or input on canine health, food, meds, etc. They claimed they had it all handled. We thought that they did. We didn't want to make waves with anybody. We weren't there to try to control anything. But there's no question that the inattention of these Crimestopper people and their uncaring attitude towards setting up the proper canine health policies or any other health standards were probably the reasons for these two dogs that died. No health policy was ever put into place, and the Crimestopper group would not listen to or allow anyone from the outside to be involved. And then the ownership of the dog. I found out that you must be a city, county, municipality, state, or federal government law enforcement agency to own a badge. This includes a police officer or a certified drug dog. And no private company, organization, or person can own a badge. A drug dog is a badge, certified by a judge as a badge. Our other unfortunate concerns with the Crimestopper group are as follows. All directors were mostly present at these Crimestopper meetings and at board meetings, and nobody ever took issue with their president at the time, which was Barbara McLaurin, about the forged document or fraud which this document was used as an instrument to basically steal the dog from the sheriff. The directors, in our eyes, seemed not to make an issue of it. Maybe they didn't care. And they never apparently asked about fundraiser money. We've never heard anything from any of them. And most of them knew about this issue, and it was a real issue with us. I also found out that the Crimestoppers group had represented themselves as being chartered members or franchised from Crimestoppers USA, which is the national organization, and this is not the case. I made a call to that organization, and I got Scott Abrams, the actual president of the National Crimestoppers USA, on the phone, and he told me that this group was never a member of their organization. They weren't then, and they never had been. And that was not good news for us. It just didn't sound right. But then again, there's a lot of things here that doesn't sound good. Then, let's see. They did use and have been using Crime Stopper USA signs, literature, and they claim they abide by the Crime Stoppers USA National Constitution. And it's not possible if they're not members. They are using the Crime Stoppers name. And I asked Mr. Abrams about this, and he said there have been several communities here and there that would use their names, and they would have to go into those communities and raise a legal issue to make corrections, because a lot of, from time to time, they were pirated by neighborhood watch groups calling themselves Crime Stoppers, which is a trademark name. It sounds like an insult to the county in a certain way. It'd be a whole lot better if this group could change their name to something else. It would make us look better and not look like pirates, I suppose. In addition, the directors and the president have always recited the same cover story, which is basically a lie covering a lie. And that cover story is that they are bound to a confidentiality agreement with Crime Stoppers USA not to discuss a subject, whatever subject that happens to be at the time that you're discussing with them. This is just a lie to cover their lies in our minds. The Crime Stopper mandate is to be a neighborhood watch group, nothing more. They are supposed to be a nonprofit organization whose only income is by donations gained by their local benefits and fundraisers. I've never heard of them doing benefits and fundraisers. Maybe I just wasn't paying attention. Our fundraiser was not of their making. They're supposed to have a dedicated lawyer on hand when taking on any new business. We've never heard of one. They are required to always have at least one badge policeman on their board of directors at all times. This had never happened. Rather, this group fought with our law enforcement. It was a polarized situation. Our police just didn't like these people, and it seemed like these people didn't like our police. They were trying to micromanage our police and sheriff's departments. If a badge had been on their board of directors as a member, then I believe that officer would have kept this group honest, and I wouldn't be here now discussing an arrest warrant for one or more of these people. They were not supposed to be acting as backroom secret police agency with undercover operatives, talking to state agencies to come in and bust clubs and such. And it seems that they were in the middle of some of this stuff. When it gets down to my page here. When it gets right down to it, none of these individuals in Crimestoppers have any law enforcement experience, or they haven't gone to school to be law enforcement. I'm not sure what their objectives were other than just controlling things. They seem to not have a plan, and they even called in efficiency experts to try and change our law enforcement offices, and naturally our policemen and sheriffs took offense, and it was insulting to have these people come in and do this. And it is still unbelievable to us how this group could be willing to hide and spend our fundraiser money that was supposed to go to our sheriff, and then cold-heartedly attempt to throw our sheriff and a young deputy under the bus. And what we have is a young deputy with a family and a promising future being kicked aside, with his career and his character being maliciously destroyed, just so these people would not have to explain what they did with our missing fundraiser money. It's our belief that they reallocated funds as if they were coming in for some other reason. We don't know. We want to see the books. When I started this health investigation on our dead police dogs, I almost immediately stumbled upon this fraudulent letter that was manufactured by Barbara McLaurin. And this letter was to take the canine dog Molly from our sheriff. What started this is that she came to me wanting me to sign off on a piece of paper about a year ago that would discontinue the canine program because of abuse by the sheriff and his handler. I said, "What proof do you have?" And she said, "The vet says in Auburn says there were ticks and fleas on this dog." This was the dog that sat in the cooler for 30 days before they even looked at it. And I told her, "Look, I just can't believe that these people have abused and neglected these animals. I think somebody needs to check into it." Well, they had never called in an animal rights agency. They had never called in the humane people, and they had never investigated anything. They just were throwing down on our sheriff and his deputy for killing these dogs. And I did the investigation. You'll see here there's paperwork from every dog, every examination, every vet check, all dogs, including my talking to the dog handler, which is what I did here. I called the dog training center and spoke with the trainer, Matt Hammond. He is also a policeman. And he's the one who supplied us with all of our dogs. And I called him to inquire about his feelings towards these deaths and if he thought our handler was at fault. And like every vet in this investigation, in this report, he had only good things to say about Deputy Powell and said that he would not consider canine handler Powell to be negligent in canine care or to be an animal abuser. And when I told him that Barbara McLaurin had used his letter as an instrument to take canine Molly away from our sheriff due to the abuse by the handler, this policeman trainer became incensed. He almost blew a fuse while he was on the phone with me. He asked me to scan and email him the letter immediately, and I did so within minutes. When he read what she had typed, and this was a phony letter to our sheriff using his company letterhead with his name at the bottom on the forged document. He simply said that McLaurin would be handcuffed and in jail if she were in Georgia. It shouldn't be a surprise to anybody that our sheriff was probably relieved to give this canine up because he had endured 2 long years of being battered and bullied by Crimestoppers charges of animal abuse. This nonstop assault on him went on without anyone coming to his aid or taking his side. to protect him or his handler from these charges. And he was getting sick of it, and it was rattling him, and it only makes sense. Hammond went on to tell me Barbara had called him 3 times around the late October, early November 2011 time period, asking him to send her a letter stating that Deputy Powell was a dog abuser and that the canines belonged to Crimestoppers, not the Sheriff's Department. He told me that he refused her request because he did not believe this to be true and that he believed the dogs belonged to our Sheriff's Department. Hammond said he did send her a letter, not the one she wanted, but one that clarified his position completely, stating that Canine Molly belonged to Powell and family as a pet because the then Crimestopper president, Woodfalk, told Powell, this was in front of and witnessed by Hammond, that at the kennel in Georgia, that since Canine Molly could never work again anyway, she was going to be used as a decoy. Molly was to belong to Powell and the family as far as Crimestoppers was concerned. The policeman trainer Hammond emailed me a copy of the letter that he sent, which stated his position on McLaurin's requests. Of course, she used that letter to manufacture the forged letter, and we know now that was the one used to take the canine Molly away from the sheriff. On the same phone call, and this is disheartening too, Matt Hammond also told me that McLaurin said that she would make certain to ruin Deputy Powell's chances in the upcoming probate judge election. McLaurin, at the time, was on our Bullock County Voters Board of Registrars. And she was appointed to this job to monitor and stop fraud in our election process. It seems to have gotten nastier and nastier as time went by. These things seem like some kind of movie. I mean, it doesn't seem possible. I mean, it's crazy. But there's nothing here that I've said or that's in these reports that can't be documented or either have been documented or can be gained in testimony or some sort of signed affidavit. I'm going to ask Sheriff Rogers to give Matt Hammond a call to verify that everything I've told you here today is correct. And I'll just tell you that we're not here to cause trouble. We're here to stop the trouble. We're sick and tired of it. We don't understand what this is all about, except that some of us or some of our members figure that maybe Crimestoppers thinks that if they kill the canine program that no one will check in behind them to see where this money is or see what money was taken. Maybe it's a dead issue. And they went from not having any money to having an awful lot of money and suddenly didn't want to tell anybody how much they had. I don't have any explanations for any of this. And what we would ask is that we get explanations. And I don't understand why this has been in the newspaper. A copy of these letters, both the original sent by the police trainer and the forged document given to the sheriff, are in this report. They were also in the Herald. I know that everyone had to read it, and I know that our justice system and our DA system never moved on any of this. I suppose they're waiting for something official. You are the oversight agency for Crimestoppers. This is why we're here. We want direction in what we should be doing. What we would like is for these directors in Crimestoppers to step forward and help us figure out what this is all about. Surely they have to know something. surely they have had to have had conversations with this lady, and I really don't know what else to tell you about it. Yes, sir.
You know, I am more confused now than I was from the beginning, to be honest about it. I don't know, are we the oversight agency? First of all, I don't believe that we are the oversight agency for Crime Stoppers. I want to get that clear. But there's some strong statement that has been made here today, very strong statement.
And evidence.
Well, I'm nowhere in the legal field, I'm administrative.
Yes, sir.
My question to you and to anyone, where is Molly?
We don't know.
That is the $1 million question, or the 6-ton gorilla.
Belong to Bullock County.
The dog was given to Bullock County as an interim dog in between the first dog, Ronan, that died, and until the next dog could be trained and successfully brought to Bullock County to put into service. There was about a year there almost. We had to wait. The kennel offered this dog, he said, try to get her certified or use her as a decoy, but it's been advised by the military that she shouldn't work full-time because of her disability.
You know, I'm under the old school to believing that when there's a disagreement, that two parties sit down and see can they come to a meaningful solution. Have you guys, and whoever, both sides of the table, have you guys tried to sit down with the sheriff department? Because it's above my pay grade, okay? You, the sheriff, the Crime Stopper, and all other, I donated money in this.
Yes, sir.
I donated money because I thought it was a worthy cause.
Yes, sir.
Have you guys came to see, you know, like I say, where's Molly? Seems like it is a dog gone problem. The dog is gone, so it's a dog gone problem. Have you guys tried to sit down and work this out? And I believe Bullock Countyans will sit down together and work whatever problem is if they sit down at the table.
Well, we would love that. We've tried that. I couldn't get Ms. McLaurin to answer my phone calls or
But she
emails.
is not Crime Stopper. She's a member, isn't she?
She was the president during this time and also the vice president during part of the other time.
Is anybody here from Crime Stopper would like to address any of this? Because I really want to come here. Yes, sir. State your name, please. Go ahead, Johnny. First of all.
Mr. Rawls, just as a county attorney, I wanted to ask a couple. First, let me commend you for your diligent work and the information you provided to the commission. You did make the statement that you thought the county was the oversight group for Crime Stoppers, and that was a statement that I'm not aware that this board or commission is the oversight for Crime Stoppers. As I understand, even had they been nationally certified, that would be an independent group acting independently from any oversight from this board. Now, the fact that they're not is another issue, but I'm concerned where you make the statement that you feel like this county commission is the oversight. I mean, it appears they're just an independent organization operating under their own volition without oversight.
Counselor, it's like this. In the same way that we don't know where the drug dog is, there's a big area of confusion about who's in charge anywhere with this group. Nobody seems to want to take responsibility. And after talking to our DAs and trying to relate to the judges, which no one wanted to comment, we were told that this committee would be the committee to come to, that Crime Stoppers seem to be here all the time for various reasons, reporting to y'all, and that you would be the oversight folks. I don't have any official word or anything. I'm in the dark on this, just like everybody else is. Listen, I never wanted to do any investigation except dog health, which I think you saw me give you in about the first 2 minutes. And the rest of it is just a catastrophe. and it was sadness and nothing I ever wanted to be involved with, and I still don't. But it's there, and we don't know what to do with it. And we want the sheriff to continue his canine program. It is in protection of our citizens in the county, and this is part of what we're trying to accomplish.
Well, let me say this, just on first blush from what you have told the commission today, I'm sure every one of these commissioners are concerned as citizens and concerned as commissioners that there has been some untruths spoken, and there's some concerns about the dogs, and I'm sure that this commission, and I may be speaking out of turn, would certainly do whatever in their power to make sure that whatever's there comes to light.
Yes, sir.
My question is going to be their authority to do that, because I don't know that we are the oversight. Now, the sheriff's department operates independently of the commission. Although he is funded by the county, that's a constitutional office created by the Constitution of Alabama. And as such, we don't have oversight over the sheriff.
I do understand that you've been paying insurance on these dogs?
We have been, just like we insure the sheriff's department, there is an insurable interest in the dog, or an insurable interest in the deputies, or an insurable interest in the liabilities or whatever that the county does take a responsibility for. But as far as us having oversight of Crimestoppers, without some documentation to that effect, I don't know that this board does. Now, if there has been a crime committed, and I say if, and I don't know.
I understand, right.
The place for any evidence that you have as far as a crime to be presented would be to the DA's office. They are the office who determines if someone has done something wrong, or some organization has done something wrong.
Yes, sir.
Or someone has taken money without authority, or someone has expended money without authority. And that would be either one of two places. One, if there is a crime, the DA's your
We've done this,
all
and
right, but if there is also a civil action, the organization, if such that raised the funds that were, as you say, defrauded of the funds, I believe you use that reference, and use the funds you gave the funds to an organization you thought was, I assume, nationally chartered.
Yes, sir.
And was going to account for the funds as they should, and as such, you feel like they have duped your organization by taking the money.
Yes, sir.
And by utilizing the money and now not giving an accounting of the money.
right, and we thought that money was just going to pass through Crimestoppers on its way to the sheriff's department. We never in our imagination figured these people to be taking control of all of this money and then wanting to own the dogs and everything else that they've been doing. It was just, it was like a runaway stagecoach here. Our jaws fell open. We couldn't believe what we were watching.
Well, and like I say,
Right.
I think everyone here sympathizes with you, and I think everyone here would love to see that there's an accounting done. And sitting in the chair I'm in as the county attorney, I want to be sure that this organization, this county commission, has the authority and oversight, because as I sit here today, I don't know that we do.
Part of the big reason I'm here on behalf of this group is to get direction. We also do not have information or answers to exactly what you're talking about, and we're trying to figure out what to do about this. Seems like no one is in charge, nobody is responsible, and what are you going to do with this? Are we going to allow the sheriff's canine program to be taken away from him by people who, to be honest with you, have no right to do it, yet they've done it? And
Now, that's going to be a decision for the sheriff, whether he's going to allow that to happen.
Correct. I would think that's part of it, yes.
Right.
Now, we tried to resolve this in a civilized way. We had a meeting with Ben Reeves in private discussing this, And we were perfectly willing at that time to have her just step down as president and get off the board of registrars, voters registrar board, and we understand that she was on a police advisory board. We didn't want this woman holding any position of trust for the people any longer after we had discovered that this letter had been manufactured by her to take the dog away from the sheriff. It's a nasty situation. It's something that nobody wants to know about, and nobody wants to deal with it. I don't want to be here. This is not what I want to do. I don't think that any of y'all are jumping at the bit here, chomping at the bit is the expression, to get involved in this. I mean, it's spooky and it's not a nice thing.
Let me get, I think his name Bill Morrow. Let me give you the opportunity to speak from the Crime Stopper perspective, if you don't mind.
My name is Bill Morey, okay? I'm currently,
Come on inside the mic.
I have been a member of the Bullock County Crimestoppers for 4 years. I have sat on the board of directors. I'm currently the president of Crimestoppers at this point. I've been so for over a year. In regards to what Mr. Rawls had to say, I say this, okay? Crimestoppers meets every month. Second Thursday of the month. I have never seen Mr. Rawls at a meeting that I have attended. I'm there. I've missed very, very few meetings. There's been a lot of accusations made this morning. I have documentation also to back up anything in contradiction to what he has said, okay? I welcome him and any member of your board to come to a Crimestoppers meeting. We will discuss anything financially or otherwise why we made decisions that we made, okay? And I welcome you to come and be a part of it. In regards to the police department and sheriff's department, back when I first became involved in Crimestoppers, they used to attend on a pretty regular basis. They were informed to do so. Why they chose not to come anymore, we welcome it. Judge Daniels doesn't even come anymore. She used to be a regular attendee, okay? Mr. Rawls has, as he said, has been to every other organization in this county and in this city trying to find out something. He's been turned away on deaf ears. I'm willing to sit down and talk with anybody that comes unless it was discussed in executive session, okay? And I still would take it a step further and say, if it's detrimental to what's going on here this morning or in the future, that I will be willing to address it. And that's all I can offer you. I think that, you know, the public should be aware of it too. Expressed again, come to the meeting, and we'll talk about it.
When is your next meeting?
The second Thursday of each month.
What
I
day
don't know
is
what the date is.
That's this Thursday.
We had our meeting last Thursday night.
Last Thursday.
Yeah.
Let me suggest this, without giving direction, just a suggestion from a citizen standpoint. Because, and as of someone who contributed to the Canine,
Right.
that you and Mr. Rawls and your organization and Mr. Rawls' group get together and see, can we come to some common ground?
Well, let's run it
Can
back.
we do
just-
that?
Not to interrupt you, but initially, the first dog was not insured, okay? It was paid for. We were going to receive a second dog from the dog handlers because of what had happened, okay? As he said, Molly was the third dog. She came in the interim, okay? We received Paco. The county insured the dog.
Right.
Okay? I have a letter here from the insurance company that denied the claim pertaining to and back to the veterinarian's report, okay? Which is a little contradictory at this point. I have to agree with him. I don't see how a dog could have been placed for 3 or 4 weeks and then looked at, okay?
Well, let me say this. I spoke to Meadowbrook, the company that insured the dog. And the reason the insurance claim was denied was because of time. And we asked him, I think Commissioner Adams and I was together, because we got a copy of the report from down, I think, Vaughn Road, you just mentioned, not Vaughn Road, but the one in Montgomery, the veterinary, Taylor Road, that stated that the dog was not neglected and that the dog was in, the weight was in between the required weight. And standing, every dog gonna have a flea. If you don't have a flea, something wrong with the dog. But it was definitely what made me feel good about it, that it was stated that Deputy Powell did not neglect the dog. That made me feel good, knowing that we have a deputy on our payroll that is doing his job. Because the allegations at first was that Deputy Powell had neglected the dog. But after I got the other report back, it stated that Deputy Powell did not neglect the dog. So
Yeah.
I felt good about that.
Do you have a copy of the preliminary report?
I don't know
Before the dog was
preliminary
sent
or
to
what other narrative. I just got a copy of Taylor Crossing Road that's saying that the dog was within the required weight and it was not neglected.
I'd be curious if there's anything missing in that report
Right,
whatsoever.
but regardless of that, the point of it is, I think the good citizens of Bullock County deserve an explanation. First of all, if you could, Mr. Burke, where's Molly?
Molly, at this point, I don't know where she is either.
Who does? I'm sorry.
I don't know where she is.
Who owned Molly?
Who owned Molly? I would say at that point, we had Molly in our hands in regards to where she would go.
Who's the last person who had Molly? And I'm not
Mr.
bad, I'm not bad for you.
Mr. Powell told also that he was given Molly by Matt, the trainer, okay? He was not.
No, that's not true. Matt
Well-
told me that that was given to him, that if you read this letter that Matt Hammond wrote to Barbara McCline, it says that, or to the sheriff, it says that in his opinion, the dog belongs to Josh Powell and family. It says that clearly. That would be the one that says, not the one that says fraudulent. See?
Didn't allow to man with Josh. Yes, sir.
All this other, as being a lawyer, I know is, everybody's got a side. My question to you, is the Crime Stoppers here part of the National Crime Stoppers organization?
To be honest with you, I believe so. I truly do. I don't know. I can find out, you know. I mean, I assume myself that we are
I
members
mean,
of the
could you,
national
you're the head
organization.
man now, I mean,
I'm the president of the
you got
Crime
access to those records.
Stoppers. Yes, I do, and
So
I have
can you-
access to
can
my.
you- Do you have a problem providing whether this organization is or is not part of the national?
Sure, and
Okay.
our, you know, and our financial records also.
Okay,
are
that's
open.
what the next thing I was gonna ask you, because there's been some questions about the financial, where the money went, this. Do you have a problem as the head man of this, providing and opening the financial records up to show where the funds
No
went?
problem whatsoever.
Do you know when you would be able or willing to do that?
With who and when? With
Well-
who and when?
You got a meeting coming up in February, would you mind providing it to anybody who showed up at the meeting?
I wouldn't have a problem other than the fact that that's the night that we are putting together our new board of directors and the, you know, the officials that'll be presiding over the next year, for, you know, election of officers and such.
Well, I mean, I want to just be, if you're willing to do that, I would, and the people who gave the money, such as the people that helped raise it, would you have a problem showing them, I guess, back to 2008? Is that when the money was,
We believe that all funds collected by Crime Stoppers, who had no funds, between May 1st, 2008 and October 1st, 2008, belong to the fundraiser. There's no excuse for them to have any income
well,
whatsoever.
who it belongs to is, I guess, going to have to be decided by somebody else. I'm just wanting to understand, would you be willing to present those records, the checks and the deposits or whatever for that time frame for public scrutiny, whether it be the press or whether it be Mr. Rawls or whether it be members of this body?
Right, we have nothing to hide in that regard.
So
Nothing.
the answer to that would be yes, you would.
Right, right.
And would you be willing to work with the sheriff and whomever to try to find out Molly's location?
Buck and I have discussed it on several occasions about what's going on, okay? And that is something that I would rather discuss in privacy as to what was said, and Buck can be there at any time that he wants to be too, and I'll be there.
Okay, I mean, I'm not.
But at this point, I can assure you, I do not have any knowledge of where Molly is. I do not know that.
And I believe you, sir. But my question to you is, would you be willing to work to try to help find the dog?
I'd be willing to help in any regard, because there's been so many accusations put forth by Keith, okay? And he has pursued them legally, and he has, like he said, came up on deaf ears. Because, like I said, our books are open, we meet once a month. I have never seen him. Johnny Adams is a regular attendee. Have you ever seen Mr. Rawls at any of our meetings?
We were told that we need a warrant to get this kicked off.
Well, I don't know who told you that.
Well, it's been told to us, but I will say this, I know Mr. Moore here as a decent fellow by reputation, and I don't doubt that he's a man of his word. However, I will say this, I think he is obviously wrong about them being chartered members of Crimestoppers National, because I will produce a letter from the president of Crimestoppers USA National that says that this organization has never been a part of them and is not now. And I have that in writing. I don't have it with me today. I will produce it.
Well, let's bring this to a head. Johnny, you got
Just
that?
one, do you have a copy of the organizational papers, or do you have access of how this organization?
into it.
They're
I
either
can
the
tell you.
corporate documents or whatever, under what they were formed, and their bylaws and so forth, and if in fact they were have a charter from the national organization, you'd be willing, you ought to have access to it being the president.
I'm sure we do. I will pursue it and find out. I know that we've been in constant contact since this thing has been initiated with the state representative for Crimestoppers. I know that, in fact, so, I'll pursue it any way we need to pursue
I
it.
think that's a good starting point, and then from there on, the reason I ask those questions, that's going to help determine whether there's oversight from this body, which from what I'm hearing, I don't see any oversight from the county commission. Because I don't think we gave you any charter, or we, did anything to do, and that's what my marching orders are, really not to determine the battle between the two of you or the disagreement.
Right.
The question is, from this chair, is what is the legal ramifications as it pertains to the county
thing that I
commission?
haven't understood is why I haven't seen him at a meeting. If he had concerns and he had brought them to our attention, I maybe think back in the beginning when he was dealing with Barbara. I can't speak for that, okay? I can speak for since I've been president and since I have the knowledge of what's been going on. I have never seen him at a meeting.
I bet you he's at the next one.
It's fine by me.
I have had meetings with individual directors. I think Mr. Morey is aware of some of this. But, and I tried to meet with him. Whether he wants to remember that or not, I don't know, but it's not the issue here. I would like to say this about the missing dog. This dog was taken away from the sheriff and delivered to a so-called neutral vet in Bullock County, Dr. Tommy Horn. Dr. Horn kept drug dog Canine Molly for a week and put her through x-rays, organ scans, tissue, blood tests, personal examinations, everything you can name. And it's in this report under Molly, the heading, that he found this dog to be in 100% healthy shape without any neglect or any signs of abuse. And the bill for this was $371. We don't know who paid it, but I
We
assume
paid
that.
for it.
Right. There was never any abuse. They've taken this to the hilt. They've just wasted our money. It's nonsense now. But after this examination by this vet, the dog at that point is missing. That's all we know. We don't know anything else about it.
Let's move on. Attorney Ward, just make sure we in the clear, because I don't need no more indictment for no crew of folks out here getting in the county business, and the sheriff get his own dog and handle his own business.
We want
And let's
these
move on.
funds, if there are any funds left, and we believe there are funds, We want the funds, equipment, and everything turned over to the sheriff's department immediately. It belongs to him. These people have no claim, no authorization, no way to be owning anything. Who put them in charge of this? We didn't.
Mr. Tom? Please.
Can I make one quick response to
Well,
that?
Mr. Tom, come.
It's been documented in the newspaper within the past few weeks, okay, of our concern about the equipment. I've met with the sheriff. He assured me that the equipment would be returned to us. He was told at that point that either the police department or the sheriff's department ever wanted to do something again with a crime dog, they knew where the equipment was. I even offered to let him take care of the equipment. He said that he didn't have a place to house it, and if I would do so, he would abide by that.
Turn it over to surplus.
Take that to the judge and let them rule on that. The sheriff get his own dog, keep his own dog, other folks stay out of the county business. And we need to move on to something else. We'll go on and on and on about this
It's
here.
our position that we've caught these people in a forgery, forging documents and taking the dog, which some people would call a theft. And
Let's file charges to the court.
We don't-
And handle it in the court.
Okay, so
But we can't.
I understand. Well, we can't find anything that they would tell us now to be credible based on their history. And we're not going to go for their stories or any documents that they want to show us, to be honest.
All right, my name's Thomas Rich. Everybody here knows me, I'm sure. I'm on the board of Crimestoppers. Now, I came on after the dog program was what got me on it. I started going to the meetings. I did several donations for the dogs. I come on after the first dog died. Some of the issues Mr. Rawls has raised, I really don't know the legal implications on them. Say I'm on the board. I did sign a confidentiality agreement with the local board. I am willing to answer all the questions in the format, but because there are legal issues here, I don't know how much I can tell and how much I can't. But I am quite willing, if the district attorney, if somebody asks me a question, the judge says I need to answer it, to answer it. But I have never been contacted by a DA or an attorney about this. And I don't understand. I invite people to come to these meetings, and we have a meeting, folks don't show up. But to the best of my knowledge, and I'm not the treasurer of the organization, to the best of my knowledge, all the money that was collected has been spent on 2 dogs and their equipment. Now, the dispute about Molly, I could see where a lawyer or a judge could argue either way, who owned it, what we should do, whatever. But again, I'm quite willing to answer the questions, but I am concerned about the legal implications, where I answer them and who I answer them to, because I've signed these confidentiality agreements about the executive sessions. But again, from my point of view, I really appreciate what people in Fitzpatrick did and everywhere that's donated towards these dogs. But I have seen the records. We had a good treasurer, that kept the records, and I'm sure Mr. Murray will make those available. But we've had fundraisers. I've been to fundraisers where I've helped collect money. It's after the dog, though, and the money was kept separate from the dog fund and the other funds. And I'd really like to get this behind us and give the answers, but am I free to do so? I'm not sure on everything, but I have confidence that people show up at the next meeting. And also, these law enforcement people are ex officio members of our board. Now, I've had problems with other organizations and all that I've been affiliated with. People want to have a complaint, fire departments, whatever. Folks don't show up for a meeting and what have you. And you can't make them all, but we can make most of them. And I'm going to invite Mr. Rawls, all the other members of Fitzpatrick, anybody in the county to come to the next Crimestoppers meeting. And I'm gonna suggest to our board that we just basically spill our guts. And,
Where is the next meeting gonna be held now? Where?
At the White House in between the community bank and the Presbyterian Church.
Okay. How big is that, room?
We could probably house 75 to 100 people.
Okay. And that's at what time?
6:30 p.m.
Okay. Let me bring this to a cap for today, because I think we all want to get some solution. You all get together, and then Mr. Rawls, you and Mr. Maury, and the organization get together, and then come back in February and tell us what the decision. Okay? Give us an update.
Be happy to do that. And I want to thank Mr. Moore for coming in today. I think that if we can get a dialogue going, maybe we can get something done about this. It was never our idea to have anybody arrested, but it was never our idea to find out about this mess. And that's the sadness of it all.
I understand. So, Barry, we want to put this down, Commissioner, as we're going to finish this up at the next county commission meeting, scheduled county commission meeting in February. That give everybody ample enough time to do your audit and have a sit down and break bread together. All right.
Just in final words, our fire chief, Julian Moore, was supposed to be here just to say a blurb about what he would like to have happen, and basically he asked me, and it's really, he just would like a full accounting from everybody on where the funds are, what has been done with it, and especially we need to know May 1st through October 1st, 2008, where every dollar went during this 4-month period, because that is no other monies, just those monies.
Mr. Maury, you all get together on that, okay?
Yeah, we can get together on that.
Okay.
You know, initially, the dog, when it was first initiated, came directly out of our funds also, which were part of what he's.
It was all of our funds.
I hope Barry have enough tape here today. Thank you all so much. Mr. May?
One question, who knows where Molly is?
I tell you what, I'll offer $5 reward. Anybody can tell me where Molly is, okay? Put it in the Herald, where is Molly? Ron Smith give $5. Okay, all right, the next item